on today's podcast, we are going to talk about motivation, being too busy, and getting things done. My first question to Josh is, what mindset do you have when you actually get things done versus when you say you'll get things done and don't? Because we all know that everybody does it. They say, "Oh, I'll get to that soon," and then they don't for like 3 weeks and have to keep being reminded. So, in your case, like, when do you get things done, and when and what times do you feel like you say you are going to do something and don't?
The graph of caffeine ingested versus productivity is it's a geometric
It's
curve.
not even a bell curve.
Uh
It's just geometric.
no, it's just you just keep taking more caffeine, the more productive I get. Uh well, I mean that is playing on a real, like, the morning is the best usually to start knocking things out. My mind does not have other tasks it's trying to hold on to. I am rested in theory, and I can start knocking things off. And once I get into that productivity mode, then it's easier to keep going because it's like knocking off a couple things is further motivation to knock off more things. And it goes back to the, like, you do not gain dopamine by completing tasks necessarily, although there may be some little bit, but the progression of seeing progress toward a goal. I think that's the powerful thing of task tracking. If I've got a list, I'm going through it. I can see I'm progressing toward, my being done for the day or having whatever done. Now, my task list is never finished. It is an ongoing list, but it's nice to see, like, man, I've thought through everything that's important in my life and it's on this sheet and I'm actually making good progress. I would say the worst, if I flip that and say the worst time motivation and getting things done, it would be probably the evenings, after I've had a long day of doing tasks and, um, my kids, wanted me to throw them around on the bed or chase them around and I'm tired and blah, blah, blah. And then added on to that is what's the complexity of the task and how much am I just putting it off because I just hate it. Uh, I am looking forward to AI at work. A coworker and he had a project that it's non-critical, but it was something that our boss requested. Um, and he was like, I've been putting this off. Marvin said it's okay if I give it to you. Marvin is my boss. Um, lean heavily on AI. Uh, there was no, like, identification information uh, and that's the kind of thing where, like, he was putting it off for a long time. He was also busy because he had a lot of critical tasks to get done that had deadlines. This one did not. There's another good point. Putting a deadline to it to motivate you to get it done, especially if it's something you don't want to do. Break it down into small, actionable steps and put a deadline to it. So anyway, I threw it into AI and got some general numbers. I've got to do one more piece, but, like, that was a good use of, okay, I have somebody else I can lean on to get this done. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just move it forward. So your original question was, when do I have motivation or something? How do I have motivation?
What times?
There
What
was some other point I was thinking of, and I don't remember it. Dang it.
That's okay.
It,
I had a
it
follow-up question. If
okay.
so when do you feel like it's let's just say you had all the money in the world. Uh, when do you feel like it's okay to outsource stuff versus doing something hard because it's gonna help you grow and make you better?
That is a good question. Um,
I mean, with the whole AI thing, it's like we might be
mhm.
able to in the future outsource everything. So at what point does the balance lean too far into the outsourcing stuff and we don't actually learn anymore?
Right. All right. Uh, like with writing, I'm okay outsourcing writing an email or drafting an email. Here are the thoughts I want to put in, drafting an email. But writing, journaling, don't outsource your journaling because the function is the writing process. In this
Yeah.
case, it was, I was taking numbers and splitting them up by material, by year, comparing the years, seeing what we paid more for, cost of goods sold in one year versus another. It was not a task that I think I'm going to have to repeat frequently. It was not something that I couldn't have done myself, just have taken much more time. The numbers might have been better, but with that, there's also a clearer, in my personal life, it's not as clear, but in that scenario, you are billing, it's billable time. It's time that someone is spending money on, whether it's my
So it
employer
saves them
paying
money.
me to be there or the customer paying us. So there is there's an incentive to, it's non-critical, it's an advising report. Let's just do it as efficiently as possible within some reason. In my personal life, um, there are lots of clerical things that fall into that bucket. I was just yesterday texting a friend and I mentioned it would be so nice if I had enough money to basically hire somebody at the job that I work at to do my life stuff. I don't have that much, but I hate clerical work, which is funny because I do that. But by the time I get home, having worked on other people's clerical stuff, I don't want to do it. I just do not want to do it. Um, so there's a ton of that I would completely outsource, and I would
Yeah.
love to get an AI that was trustworthy enough to do it. But Google
I
Gemini
definitely
failed me. I tried to use
Gemini.
Gemini to edit a grocery list, which is on Google Drive, and it was like, I can't do that. I can only make notes on, I don't know. It named me two other things that I didn't care about. I assume
Dang.
part of that is security because they don't want you to be like, uh, someone I was talking to was like, yeah, they probably don't want you to be just like, oh, delete all my Google Drive files. And then it goes through and does it. But then
I
again,
think
very possible. I'm just an old man.
it's all right. With the help with the outsourcing question, I think there has to be a balance of like time saved and money saved versus, you know, effort or growth uh, put into the task, or I guess growth that you get from the task. Because,
Mm-hmm.
if doing a task or outsourcing a task is going to save you like 10 hours, it's like, okay, that's really obvious. You should definitely outsource the task. If it's going to
Yeah.
save you tons and tons of money, okay, that makes sense. But if it's going to save you like 5 minutes, that's where it's like, okay, that's not a huge amount of time. If I do this task 100 times a week, then that makes sense. But if I'm doing it one time, maybe I should just do it and learn. I don't know. But also, if it's a one off task, then like, should you learn it? Anyways, it's kind of a balance and you got to, learn over time. So, my mindset when I get things done, I would agree with some of the things that you said. Like, in the morning, I definitely get more done. I feel better rested and I feel ready to take on the day and better energized. At night, it hits like 9 p.m. and I can't do anything because I'm so tired for real. I don't necessarily drink coffee. So the caffeine, I mean, I drink some protein shakes that have a little bit of caffeine in them, but it's not really about the caffeine for me. Like I just drink them because I enjoy the protein and they taste good. Um, so my caffeine consumption chart is like this. It's just pretty flat. Uh, and then I would also say when I have clarity around my tasks, the w- worst scenario for me is when I have a bunch of things to do. I don't have them written down. I don't know what all I need to do, but I know that I need to do a lot, then it's just too overwhelming and then I don't do any of it. So I have to make sure that I write it all down. I have to make sure that I try. I'm honestly not very good at this, but I'm trying to get better at it. I have to make sure that I break down the tasks because some are really complex and the task itself, I can't just do. I have to do
Mm-hmm.
separate pieces of the task in order to fulfill the whole project. Oh, clarity is a huge one because if I don't have clarity in what tasks I actually need to do, I'm not getting them done
Yeah.
2 months
Mm-hmm.
later. Like, yeah, I'll follow up soon. And then it takes 3 or 4 weeks, even though they say they would follow up the next week. So yeah, that's something I'm trying to get really good at so that people actually trust my word.
I missed that very last part. You said it happens a lot to you, meaning people don't get back to you in a
Yeah.
timely fashion.
People
Yeah.
people tell
Mm-hmm. Yep.
or never. I
Oh
have to
yeah.
follow up.
Yes. I'm trying to. That's a good point. I need to try and solve that in my life. I interact with people that are pretty good at getting back to me. Um, but I should create a system for that. Like when that happens. I am usually the weak link because of kind of what you're saying. Like at the end of the day, when you're out of motivation or whatever, and you just don't want to do that thing. And so you put it off and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. Although I'm getting better at that. Specifically in a previous episode, I mentioned like the getting things done task list, not removing something, but moving it to the waiting on does help me. There's been a couple things at work where just a couple where it's in somebody else's court and they need to contact me. And after a week, they haven't. And so I'll just send them a follow up. But yeah, I should create more of a personal system for that. It's usually me.
That's
I'm
called a
usually the
CRM.
guy. I
You
see it.
can
Yeah,
just
right.
have a
For
have a
myself.
group did that
Yeah.
because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't need all that HubSpot has, but I did need some things that HubSpot didn't have. So I just made one myself on Google Sheets and I just have people's names, their contact info, and when the last time I reached out to them was, and any random notes that I have, which I mean, HubSpot has all that stuff, but like I don't need all of the other stuff that HubSpot has. I can just do it in a Google Sheet. And I can always connect automations to a Google Sheet if I want. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much it's annoying, but
In
I
your
I mean I
personal
get
life
it.
or related to your business or both?
Mostly related to my business. The thing is, I understand that people are busy, so I'm never like mad about it because people are busy, but it does get a little frustrating sometimes when they don't follow their word. Like when they say, I'll get back to you at this point, and then they don't. Whereas some people just say, I'll get back to you. And I know they'll probably not get back to me. But, sometimes that's okay, I guess.
Yeah. But like people tend to mean well. They just don't. What is it? David Ogilvy said they don't do what they say. They don't say what they think. They don't do what they say, and they don't. Or no, they don't say what they think, and they don't do what they say. Um, I was thinking about. Oh, you mentioned clarity on tasks, and I'm adjusting my mic. Um, I was reading Getting Things Done yesterday because I try to read like a page either before or after I get into work. Recently, it's been after or like get done with work. Um, and I wrote down a quote that was something like, "If you don't know the reason why you're doing something, you can never do enough of it." That just made me think of your clarity thing. And I think the section was actually, oh, it was under principles. No, it was not. I can't. He had a couple of subheaders, like one was under the other. I think it was principles, and then it wasn't axioms, but it was like knowing the reason why you're doing something. Your principles are your guiding. Like, what do you want? What do you want your life to be? And then whatever the subcategory was, then that brings clarity to your individual tasks. And so, if you don't know why you're doing it, then you can never do enough of it. Which goes back to the busy. Like those are the things that you're just doing. And then eventually one day somebody asks you, why are you doing that? Or you ask yourself, I hate this. Why am I doing this so much?
Yeah.
At least hopefully you ask yourself that before you die, because then
True.
you can eliminate it and do something else.
Yeah. How do you capture? So I know that we send ourselves or each other. Actually, I do send myself things just to remind myself, but I know we send each other podcasts to listen to, books. Uh, you probably send them to other people. Other people probably send them to you. How do you capture those things in order to actually listen to them? Because I'm not very good at it, doing that, but I'm better than some people. Some people I
Mm,
will send stuff and they have never listened to a single thing in their whole, like the whole time I've started sending them stuff. Whereas
yeah.
I know, so I just caught myself red-handed on that one. But how do you capture stuff?
Well, the refrigerator ice example is a good example, because I was about to say it widely varies on how motivated or excited about whatever the content is that somebody sent me. Now, I live like 25 minutes away from work, 25. So I have a little bit of time to listen to a YouTube video or something when I get home, or on the way home. Or if it's sent the night before, I can listen to it while driving to work. But yeah, if it's already interesting to me, it's an interesting topic, which, like, we talk a couple times a week, so we probably wouldn't do that unless you weren't kind of in my, zone of, we share some interest.
Yeah.
Uh, then it is more of a planned, like I have to plan it. Or if it's just something I can't get to and I'm afraid I'm going to forget it, do it quickly. If it's a short
So
enough
true.
podcast or whatever, do it as soon as humanly possible. That
It gets long.
moment or that day, or at least that week. If it goes more than 48 hours, the likelihood I'm going to forget about it is huge. Um, Huge. Um, as far as books, I'll put them on my Amazon wish list and usually put a note, and then decide, with the content of the book, does this look like a book that I can listen to on Audible, or do I have to have a physical copy? Uh, because some books just, like, have charts or whatever. And I've definitely done the thing where you get a book on Audible and you're like, I should have got this physically, because there's no way I'm going to pull up this PDF every time I'm listening to this audiobook.
Yeah.
No,
Against them.
tomorrow, the 8th.
Okay.
I knew
On
you were going to
Sunday,
ask
I'm
me
gonna
that.
ask for on a Monday. I'm
Okay.
just kidding.
I'm 2 books deep right now.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Um, yeah, YouTube videos, if they're long and I'm not like super excited about them, are a little bit more difficult. But I have been either emailing them to myself or texting them to myself. That's so that, like, next time I pop in my email, it's sitting there. Or the other thing I've been doing for just other things I want to remember later, especially while I'm at work, is Google Calendar. I use Google Calendar for everything. And so setting a reminder for like 8:30 p.m. after my kids are in bed, that's like, listen to Kayla's podcast, or um yeah, whatever. Record somebody's, last night my reminder was record so and so's birthday in my phone so like I can remember
Mhm.
it next year. Yeah, stuff like that. That's like, I don't have time to do that right now. I don't remember what this person's birthday is, but when this reminder hits, go look for it and put it in your phone.
Maybe I should put your
Just a little
birthday in
something
my
like that.
phone so I know what day it is.
Well, I had
Well,
the thought. I was
it's
like,
actually.
I don't remember Caleb's. I think it's like August, but I don't actually know. I
It's all right.
forgot.
I'll tell you later.
Okay. uh, but
I
yeah,
just
putting it in
remember.
my, and then if I blow past that task, then I will move it to the next day. I'll just keep moving it. And so it'll be annoying every single day until it
Yeah,
gets done. Uh-huh.
not
Now,
having to
if it
sit.
stacks several days in a row, then I'll just put it on my physical list, my physical task list.
Mm. So you don't. does it not go onto your physical task list right away? Like, what makes a task go onto your physical right
Yeah.
away?
Criticality, maybe. Like, how relevant is it to my life? And how important is it? So, like, I have like tasks that I need to get done for me or my kids or my wife or just life in general. And then there's stuff that other people put on you. These are the like, oh, watch this video. Oh, listen to this thing. Oh, et cetera, et cetera. And I do have one that's currently on my task list because it's been rolling around in my head for like 2 months. But somebody made a claim, one of my friends, and I was like, you can't prove that. And he counterclaimed by being like, oh, that did happen. And my reply was, that may have happened, but you don't have proof of it. And so he sent me a YouTube video, a couple of them. And I've been going through them and took screenshots of every thing that was referenced and going through every reference and placing it as far as like, this is getting into a rabbit hole, but going through every reference and putting it on a scale of credibility. You know, I'm looking at who was the person referenced, are they a credible source? And then has there been any third party verification of because the claims they're making are quite extreme, I would say. And I had told somebody about this, my dad, maybe, my sister, and because we were just discussing, and they were like, oh, did you come to the conclusion that this thing was true? And my comment was, thus far, I have come to the conclusion that it is not true in any firm sense of the term. Like, and I was saying, there are things that may have happened that none of us can prove. And this falls into that realm. Like the things that are in the video do not hit the level of proof. It may be a pet idea that I have, but I'll never try to convince anybody because I don't have credible evidence. Basically, everything in your life is that way. And I actually was working with Perplexity to, I was like, oh, this actually brings up good. The reason it's on my task list is because it brought up so many questions in my head that I was like, no, I really want to tackle this. Like, I really want to bite into it. I want to dig into it. I want to go through all the references because I think this will make my thinking better. And I'm going to learn something myself. And the thing that came up was, how do we trust historical references? Because all historical references,
Are biased to the
not
winner.
all. Yeah,
That's just
right.
how
Yeah, they all fall into what would be considered legal hearsay, right? It's just like somebody said a thing, but do we know that it happened? And so going through and researching like what's considered good research, what's considered good historical evidence, other things may have happened, but if only one witness was there, there's no physical items from the event that still exist, then we can talk about them, but we have to place them on a lower level than these historical events where there were tons of witnesses. They may or may not have been on the same, I don't know, side of a fight, but they share common details. So anyway, it's been a real interesting. That one ended up on my task list because of the things I've just been articulating. Like, I've been thinking about it, and I think that's a task that I could just throw in AI and be like, is this presentation credible? Do you know anything about it? But the act of going through and doing it myself, I think will assist with the way that I think, and coming to a firmer grasp on reality. So
yeah.
there's something I could have outsourced but chose not to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Think of like one or two things that you want to tell the people listening just to help them get things done. And I have two things that I want to share. So I would say the 2 minute rule is if a takes less than 2 minutes, just do it right now, which you don't have to be perfect at, and I'm not perfect. I know you're not perfect at it, but trying to keep that in mind. Like if I can do it really quickly and it's not something that, and it is something that is going to push another project forward or get me to another step in a project, just do it. And then the other thing I would say is have clarity, because that's what I find to be the most helpful is actually write your stuff down. You know, if you don't, your brain, what is it? Your brain is for having ideas, not holding them. So you have an idea, you have a task, write it down. You can come back to it, but in your brain, it's going to be a lot harder to remember what that task was than it will be if it's actually written down on a task list or anything. Although lots of people write stuff down on papers and then just lose them. So make sure it's somewhere where you can actually see it. That would be my biggest. Those have helped me the most for sure.
And I agree with, just because I'm thinking of it, the tail end of that last comment, putting it where you can see it. Like, that's the importance of putting the book on my Amazon wish list, because I look at my Amazon list so frequently for things that I want to buy, but just not right now. And I go there frequently. If I didn't go there frequently, it'd be a bad place to put it, because it would just, it'd be, I wrote it on a post note. That post note went, I don't know, to someplace. The two things that I would point out, one of them I think is just important because of um, how much it will impact you getting things done, which is have a list that you continually return to. I think I've undervalued that. And I've tried several methods, and until now it hasn't really seemed to click, but it's very helpful. Yeah. Make a list in a place that you go to a lot. There's some argument for, is there a way that I can put a list as the background on my phone? Because I'm constantly unlocking my phone and looking at it.
Yeah.
I bet somebody's done that. The second thing would be, and I had this experience last night actually, that I'm toying around with, is productive procrastination is also productive. And that doesn't mean be busy, but that does mean if I've got two or more tasks, they all need to be done. They're all of a similar timeline. Yeah, sure. There's an argument for pick the one that you hate the most and do it. Just get it done. Work on it. But also, sometimes that can be a motivating factor to do the other one that you hate slightly less. And don't feel bad about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because that has helped me definitely get more things like this type of task I've done a lot of today. I'm just fatigued on it. It doesn't seem like something I want to do. Here's this other one. Instead of doing none of them and wasting time, doing something that I will later perceive as not helpful or restful, then I might as well just tackle this other one and not feel bad about it. Because there is a scenario in which I go tackle this one and then I feel like I'm a failure because I didn't do the one task that I felt like really needed to be done, and I'm just putting it off, and it's terrible. I am putting it off, but having variety in the tasks that I complete helps me do more in the same time frame. Yeah, don't find more motivation. Make things easier.
Yeah. I think it's helpful to me always to think about these things, and hopefully it's helpful to the people listening. Uh, like and subscribe on YouTube. Send us an email if you want. We would love to hear some content ideas, jc.unscripted@gmail.com, and give us a 5-star review on Spotify if you enjoyed it. That's the pod, and we'll see you on the next one.